I vanished for 5 years. Everyone thought I was dead. Later, I saw my ex-girlfriend on the financial news, Victoria Sterling, the now legendary CEO of Sterling Corp. She was facing the camera, expressionless, announcing the acquisition of the last of my family's assets. I decided to go back and take back what was mine. But when I actually stood in front of her, she used a hand clad in a black leather glove to gently lift my chin, her eyes filled with a darkness that wouldn't dissolve. "My dear," she called me, her voice low and raspy. "You've finally fallen back into my hands." When a notification popped up on my phone, I was in a 7-Eleven eating instant ramen. Sterling Corp CEO Victoria Sterling officially completes the acquisition of all equity in StoneTech. My finger paused. I clicked it open. In the video, she was wearing a sharp black suit, standing on the press conference stage. The lights hit her face, cold, pale, void of expression. Her features were sharper than 5 years ago. When she looked at people, her irises were pitch black, reflecting no light at all. She spoke in the microphone, her voice coming through the cheap phone speaker, slightly distorted, but that cold, hard tone hadn't changed. Sterling Corp will continue to advance integration and optimize StoneTech's existing business structure. Below the stage, reporters scrambled to ask questions. "Ms. Sterling, does this acquisition mean StoneTech is history?" Rumors say the heir to the Stone family, who has been missing for years. She raised her eyes, her gaze sweeping flatly across the audience. Just that one look made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up for no reason. StoneTech has become part of Sterling. She interrupted the reporter, her tone flat. As for anything else, no comment. The video ended, and the next ad played automatically. I put down my plastic fork. The ramen broth was getting cold, a layer of oil floating on top. Victoria Sterling. I rolled the name over my tongue. A bit unfamiliar, and it stung. The girl working the register leaned over to peek at my phone, letting out a wow. "You're watching Miss Sterling too? She's so cool. Beautiful and fierce." I locked the screen. "I know her." Huh. The girl's eyes went wide. From before. I added 2 words, grabbed my jacket, and stood up. "Check, please." Pushing open the glass door of the convenience store, the night wind rushed in. I pulled my jacket collar tighter. It was time to go back. StoneTech was gone. There was no point in hiding anymore. Standing at the foot of the Sterling Group headquarters in Manhattan, I looked up. The glass curtain wall reflected the sky, so high it made me dizzy. My family's office building used to be tall, but not this tall and not this icy. The receptionist was a pretty young woman wearing a standard smile. "Sir, do you have an appointment?" "I'm looking for Victoria Sterling." The smile didn't waver. "May I ask your name? Do you have an appointment?" "Caleb Stone," I said. "No appointment. Just call the internal line and say Caleb Stone is looking for her." The girl's finger paused over the internal comm system. She looked up and scrutinized me for a second, her expression changing slightly. She picked up the phone, dialed a short extension, turned her back, and kept her voice very low. After a few sentences, she hung up and turned back, her smile even more standard, but her eyes were darting around. "Mr. Stone is Sterling is in a meeting. Please wait in the lounge area, over there." I waited for 4 hours. From noon until the sky outside turned gray. I finished reading the magazines in the lounge, drank 3 refills of coffee until the bitterness numbed my tongue. Just when I thought I wouldn't see anyone today, the sound of footsteps came from the elevators. Several people surrounded her as she walked out. She was still wearing that black suit from the video. Her high heels clicked on a marble floor, crisp, rhythmic, carrying an aura that said, "Stay away." Next to her, an executive-looking man was quickly reporting something. She tilted her head slightly to listen, her face expressionless. Walking to the center of the lobby, she stopped. Her gaze turned and landed on me. The surroundings instantly went quiet. The people following her stopped talking, their eyes darting back and forth between us. I stood up and dusted the wrinkles off my pants. "Ms. Sterling," I forced the corners of my mouth up. "Seeing you is harder than getting an audience with the mayor." She didn't speak, just looked at me. That look, like she was appraising an object, went from top to bottom, slow and careful. It made me uncomfortable. After a full 30 seconds, she spoke, addressing the people beside her. "You all go up first." The group nodded immediately and walked quickly toward the elevators, no one daring to look back. The lobby was left with just the 2 of us, plus the receptionist pretending to be busy in the distance. She walked toward me. The sound of her heels was unhurried. Every step felt like it was stomping on my nerves. Finally, she stopped in front of me, less than a step away. There was a faint cold scent on her, mixed with a metallic smell like gunpowder. "Caleb Stone," she said my name. Her voice was lower, heavier than in the video. You actually dare to come back. I smiled. My family home is gone. If I didn't come back, I'd probably be pushing up daisies by now. She didn't respond to my quip. Her gaze rested on my face as if she wanted to stare a hole through it. These past 5 years, she asked slowly, where did you go? Dodging debt, drifting along. I shrugged. Can't compare to you, Ms. Sterling, becoming a titan of industry. A trace of something flashed through her eyes too fast for me to catch. Come upstairs with me. She said it, then turned and walked toward the private elevator. A commanding tone, completely unchanged. I put my hands in my pockets and followed her. The elevator was spacious, just the two of us. The mirrored walls reflected our figures. She stood ramrod straight, while I leaned lazily against the wall. The numbers ticked upward. It was so quiet I could hear the faint ticking of the mechanical watch on her wrist. Acquiring Stone Tech, I said, watching the changing numbers. You orchestrated that alone? Yes. Pretty ruthless, I said. Didn't leave a scrap. In business, her tone held no ripples. There is no room for sentiment. Between us, I turned to look at her profile. Is there any sentiment left to speak of? The elevator chimed, arriving at the penthouse floor. She walked out first, tossing a sentence behind her. Depend on how you see it. Her office was ridiculously large. An entire wall was floor-to-ceiling glass, framing the city skyline at dusk. She didn't go behind her desk. She walked to the wet bar, poured a glass of water, took a sip herself, and then, as if suddenly remembering me, looked over. Seat. I sat on the sofa, watching as she placed a glass of water on the coffee table in front of me. The glass bottom clicked against the marble surface. She didn't sit. She stood opposite me, across the coffee table, looking down at me. Why did you come back? She asked. To take back what's mine, I said. Stone Tech is gone. I know. I leaned back into the sofa. That's why I came to find you. Her brow twitched imperceptibly. Find me? Stone Tech was lost in your hands. I looked at her. Victoria, I don't believe this was purely a business move. She was silent for a few seconds. Then what do you think? She walked over slowly, bypassing the coffee table to stand by my side. My behavior was... I turned my head, wanting to see her expression. The light before my eyes suddenly dimmed. She leaned down, one hand bracing on the sofa back beside my ear. The other hand, wearing that black leather glove, reached out. Fingertips cold as ice touched my chin. Very lightly, but with a force that brooked no refusal, she lifted my face. I was forced to look up, meeting her eyes. We were too close. Close enough that I could see the tiny blood vessels in her eyes, smell the crisp scent of her breath, feel the intense, aggressive oppression radiating from her. Her pupils were pitch black, bottomless, churning with emotions I couldn't read at all. Thick, dark, like the sea suppressed before a storm. Caleb. She said my name again, her voice pressed extremely low, almost a breath, brushing past my eardrum. My throat felt a little dry. You have. Finally, she enunciated each word slowly, every syllable carrying weight as it crashed down. Fallen. Back. Into. My. Hands. My heart skipped a violent beat. What do you mean? I heard my voice come out a bit raspy. She didn't answer. The leather of her thumb slowly rubbed along my jawline, separated by the thin glove. A slightly rough friction. It tickled, and a chill crawled up my spine. It means she stared into my eyes, the corners of her mouth seeming to curve, but the arc was cold, holding no warmth, from the moment you stepped into this building. You can't run away anymore. I couldn't speak for a long time. Her look was too serious. Serious enough to make me feel she wasn't joking. Victoria, I leaned back, avoiding her hand. Are you okay? I'm a grown man. Why would I run? She straightened up, retracting her hand, but her gaze remained locked on my face. Literal meaning. She turned, walked back behind her desk, and pressed the intercom. Send 2 dinners up. Then she looked at me. What do you like to eat? The topic shifted too fast. My brain couldn't quite keep up. Whatever. She spoke into the phone, listing 3 dishes. They were the signature dishes from the private bistro we used to frequent. I was stunned. She still remembered. Seat. She gestured to the chair opposite her, sitting down first. We'll talk while we eat. Dinner was brought up quickly, filling the small coffee table. The way she ate was the same as before, slow, quiet, chewing carefully. But I had no appetite. I held my chopsticks, not moving for a long time. What? She looked up. Food not to your taste. Victoria, I put down my chopsticks. What exactly are you trying to do? Nothing. She picked up a piece of sautéed asparagus and placed it in my bowl. Eat. I looked at the bright green asparagus in my bowl, the eerie feeling in my heart growing heavier. You acquired Stone Tech to force me out of hiding. You still here. Now I'm here. What do you want? She slowly swallowed the food in her mouth and picked up a napkin to wipe the corner of her lips. Caleb, do you think you have any capital to negotiate with me right now? I choked. True, I had nothing. But I also have nothing you could want, I said. She put down the napkin, leaned back, and clasped her hands on her lap, a posture of total control. You do. What do I have? You, she said. You alone are worth the entire Stone Tech. I laughed out of anger. I'm that valuable? I never knew that before. Before was before. Her gaze was calm. Now I make the rules. So how do you plan to dispose of me? I leaned back, giving up. Tie me up, lock me up, or just silence me for good. She looked at me, that darkness floating up in her eyes again. Depend on my mood. I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles. She stopped talking and ate quietly, occasionally putting food in my bowl, her movements as natural as if the last 5 years hadn't happened, as if we had sat at that small dining table just yesterday. But I knew everything had changed. The way she looked at me, her tone of voice, and that omnipresent sense of control. It all felt like a stranger. After eating, she rang the bell to have the dishes cleared, then picked up a file and started reading. Where am I staying? I asked. She didn't lift her head. Upstairs. Upstairs. I frowned. There's a place to live upstairs. My lounge suite. She turned a page. Big enough for you. I'm not staying here. I stood up. I'll find my own place. She finally looked up from the file. Do you have money on you? I touched my pockets. Phone, keys, and a crumpled wad of bills totaling maybe $40. I'll figure something out. Figure something out? She closed the file, leaning forward slightly, elbows on the desk, fingers interlaced. Sleep under a bridge? Or go back to that $50 a night basement? My face looked a bit grim. She even knew about that. Caleb, her voice leveled out. Don't be stubborn. I'm not being stubborn. I said, I just don't want to be a lead. Don't want what? She cut me off, her eyes sharp. Don't want to stay by my side? Don't want to own me? Or simply don't want to see me? I didn't speak. She stood up, walked around the desk, and stopped in front of me. It's not up to you. She reached out and fixed my jacket collar. The movement seemed casual, but it carried an unquestionable force. From the moment you decided to come back, you had no choice. She patted my shoulder, her fingers lingering for a split second. Go take a shower, she said. Clothes are in the closet in the lounge. Find something that fits. Beak. Caleb. She looked up at me, voice not loud, but every word distinct. Don't make me say it twice. I looked at her. Her eyes were calm, but underneath was a bottomless undercurrent. I knew she meant what she said and would do what she threatened. She was like that before, and even more so now. I took a deep breath and turned toward the lounge she mentioned. The door closed behind me. I leaned against the door panel, listening to her voice on the phone outside. Calm, decisive, clear logic. A different person from just now. I wiped my face. What a mess. The lounge was a complete suite. The decor style was the same as the outside. Cool tones, black, white, gray, devoid of human warmth. The closet was full of men's clothing. From underwear to outerwear, all of my size. I picked up a shirt and looked at the tag. New season, ridiculously expensive. She had prepared even this. I took a shower. The hot water rushed down, slightly relieving my taut nerves. While drying my hair, I looked at the person in the mirror. Face a bit pale, faint dark circles under the eyes, traces of long-term sleep deprivation and malnutrition. These 5 years, I really hadn't lived well. Family trouble, debt collectors blocking the door, my dad's hair turning white overnight, my mom in tears every day. I was the only son, but back then I could do nothing. The little money I had was a drop in the bucket. Finally, my dad shoved me into a car, gave me a card, and said, Caleb, go. Go as far as you can. Don't come back. So I left, like a coward, drifting for 5 years, working under the table, sleeping in internet cafes, and my worst eating just a bun a day. I didn't dare contact home, afraid of being found, afraid of hearing worse news. Until I saw the news of Victoria acquiring Stone Tech. I knew I had to come back. Changed into clean clothes, I slid open the lounge door. The office outside had only one floor lamp on, the light dim. Victoria wasn't behind the desk. I turned and saw her standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, back to me, looking at the brilliant night view outside. Hearing the sound, she didn't turn around. Cleaned up. Yeah, come here. I walked over and stopped beside her. The glass reflected our shadows, one tall, one shorter, standing side by side. Is it beautiful? She asked. What? This city. She raised her hand, fingertips vaguely pointing at the shimmering buildings outside. Now, most of it belongs to Sterling. I forced a smile. Ms. Sterling is impressive. She turned her face to look at me. The light cast faint shadows on her face, making her silhouette look softer, but her eyes were still deep. Caleb, she called my name. Yeah. Do you hate me? I didn't expect her to be so direct. I was silent for a while. I don't know, I said. I can't really say I hate you. Business is a battlefield. Stone Tech couldn't hold up on its own. We can't blame anyone else. Is that so? She turned back, continuing to look out the window. But I hate you. My chest tightened. What do you hate me for? Hate you for leaving without a word. Her voice was flat, devoid of emotion. Hate you for 5 years of silence. Hate that I turned this city upside down and couldn't find you. My throat went dry. The situation was complicated. How complicated? She interrupted me. Complicated enough that you didn't have time to send one text, make one call. I opened my mouth but couldn't speak. Caleb, she turned her head, facing me directly. Something in her eyes cracked, revealing the scorching emotions buried deep, suppressed for too long. I looked for you for 3 years. I used every connection I could use, every method. I combed through every city you might have gone to. Nothing. Nowhere. It was like you evaporated from this world. She took a step forward, closing in on me. For those 3 years, every night, I wondered if you were dead. Dead in some corner I didn't know about, with no one to claim your body. Then I thought, you can't die. You owe me. You haven't paid me back. How can you die? Later, I stopped looking. She laughed once, a smile with no warmth that made my scalp tingle. I figured it out. If you wouldn't come back, I'd force you back. So, you went after Stone Tech. I heard my voice tremble slightly. Correct. She admitted it swiftly. I knew that was your soft spot. You don't care about me, but you care about the Stone family. Now you're back. She raised her hand, cold fingertips touching my face. I shivered. Good. She whispered like a sigh. You finally came back. I slept in the big bed in the lounge, tossing and turning, eyes open until dawn. Victoria's words looped in my brain like a broken record. Hate me. Look for me. Force me. And that last look she gave me. Obsessive, crazy, yet carrying a kind of near-desperate fragility. I had never seen her like that. The Victoria in my memory was proud, calm, always in control. She came from a good family, was beautiful, capable, always the center of attention. When we were together, although she had a temper, she was generally reasonable. I was the one who initiated the breakup, a month before my family's troubles. No dramatic reason, just exhaustion. She was too busy, I was busy too. We saw each other less and less, argued on the phone more and more. After the last fight, I hung up, sent her a breakup text, turned off my phone, and got dead drunk. When I woke up, my family was in ruins. I was overwhelmed, with no energy to think about romance. 5 years apart. Meeting again, she had become a lofty CEO of Sterling, and I was a penniless nobody, entrapped here by her. I stared at the ceiling, my mind a mess. Dawn was breaking when I finally drifted into a groggy sleep. Not long after, a knock on the door woke me. Caleb, get up. It was Victoria's voice, clear and calm, through the door. I checked my phone. 7:00 a.m. I'm up. I rasped a response. Crawled up, washed, changed. When I opened the door, she was already ready, not a hair out of place, pouring coffee at the wet bar. Come eat breakfast. She jutted her chin toward the dining table. On the table were porridge, side dishes, fried eggs, and bacon. I sat down, having no appetite, and shoveled a few spoonfuls of porridge into my mouth. Starting today, you're coming to the company with me. She carried her coffee cup and sat opposite me. I looked up. What am I going to do at your company? Work. She took a sip of coffee. I've arranged a position for you. What position? My personal assistant. I almost choked on the porridge. What? Personal assistant, she repeated, her tone as casual as if remarking on the nice weather. 24 hours, always on call. I refuse. I put down my spoon. Victoria, I have no interest in playing these games with you. Games? She set down her cup, the bottom clinking gently against the saucer. Caleb, you think I'm playing a game with you? Aren't you? I looked at her, trapping me by your side, watching me like a pet, satisfying your need for control. Her eyes turned cold. You're right. She leaned forward, elbows on the table, locking eyes with me. I'm going to keep you by my side, so you can go nowhere, see only me, listen only to me. You're crazy. Maybe. She pulled the corner of her mouth. These past 5 years, I really did almost go crazy. Now that you're back, my illness is cured. She stood up, picking up the suit jacket draped over the chair. I'll give you 10 minutes. Get ready and follow me downstairs. I'm not going. She stopped at the door, not looking back. Caleb, you could try. Try and see if I have ways to make you follow me willingly. I followed her downstairs anyway. Not willingly. I had no choice. Like she said, I had nothing now, Even the decent meal last night was her charity. I couldn't afford to be tough. In the elevator, she handed me a folder. Your employment paperwork. Read it. Today's schedule is in there too. I took it and opened it. Personal assistant monthly salary. I counted the zeros at the end, and my eyelid twitched. The salary is too high, I said. I'm not worth this price. If I say you're worth it, you're worth it. She watched the elevator numbers change. Besides, that's just base pay. Do well, and there's a bonus. What counts is doing well. I closed the folder. Coming when called, fetching coffee, or... The elevator reached the underground garage. She walked out first, tossing back a phrase. Making me happy. The car was a black sedan. The driver was already waiting, respectfully opening the door. She got in. I hesitated, then sat in the back row with her. The door closed, cutting off the outside air. The car was quiet, just a faint hum of the AC. She took out a tablet and started processing emails, the line of her profile looking a bit cold in the morning light coming through the window. I turned to watch the passing streetscape. This city, haven't been back in 5 years. It's changed a lot. More skyscrapers, busier streets, but stranger too. What are you looking at? She spoke suddenly, eyes still on the screen. Nothing, I said. Just don't recognize it anymore. There will be plenty of time later for you to recognize it slowly. Her fingers swiped on the screen. Come with me to a meeting this afternoon. Information is in the back of the folder. Familiarize yourself with it beforehand. I pulled out the folder, flipped to the back. Background info on a merger, a thick stack. Why am I reading this? I asked. I don't understand it. If you don't understand, learn. She glanced at me. My assistant can't be a decoration. When did I agree to be your assistant? I frowned. Her tone was calm. Caleb, face reality. You're eating my food, living in my place, wearing my clothes. Aside from listening to me, you have no second path. I tightened my grip on the folder. The edge of the paper dug painfully into my palm. The meeting was held in a conference room at a hotel owned by Sterling Corp. The other company sent 5 or 6 people, led by a chubby middle-aged man, face piled with smiles, calling her Ms. Sterling every other breath. Victoria just nodded faintly and took the main seat. As her assistant, I sat diagonally behind her, responsible for taking notes. The meeting content was dry, mostly haggling, pulling back and forth on details. Victoria didn't speak much, but every time she did, she went straight to the core. Her tone wasn't heavy, but it carried an undeniable pressure. The fat boss started sweating on his forehead. I looked down, scribbling randomly in the notebook, actually not absorbing a word. My mind was messy, full of fragments from last night and this morning. The way Victoria looked at me, the things she said, and now, seeing her sit there, effortlessly controlling the room, overlapping with, yet separating from, the person in my memory. Ms. Sterling, this price, we really can't go lower. The fat boss wiped his sweat. We're a small business. Victoria picked up the teacup in front of her, took a sip, and didn't speak. The atmosphere was stiff. The fat boss looked pleadingly at a VP next to Victoria. The VP stared at his nose, pretending not to see. Mr. Higgins. Victoria put down the teacup. Her voice wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears clearly. What I offered is the fair market price. I've seen your company's financial report from last quarter. Cash flow is tight, and the loan renewal from the bank seems to have hit a snag. The fat boss's face went white. This price is to solve your desperate urgency. Victoria leaned back, tapping her fingertips lightly on the table twice. Of course, you can think it over. However, my time is limited. She lifted her wrist and checked her watch. I'll give you 5 more minutes. The fat boss whispered quickly with the people beside him, his expression changing several times before his shoulders finally slumped in defeat. We'll do as Ms. Sterling says. A very faint smile appeared on Victoria's face, vanishing instantly. Pleasure doing business. I stood up to pack the things. From the corner of my eye, I caught Victoria's profile. No expression on it, but deep in her eyes, there was the cold satisfaction of a predator catching its prey. Walking out of the conference room, her pace was fast, heels clicking on the floor in a steady rhythm. I followed half a step behind her. After entering the elevator, she suddenly spoke. Did you write it all down? I paused, realizing she was asking me. I did. Organize it into minutes when we get back. Send it to me before you get off work. Okay. The elevator descended. Watching the numbers change, she spoke again. Think I'm ruthless? I turned to look at her. She showed me her profile, the lines clear and cold. In business, mercy to others is cruelty to oneself. Her voice was flat. Your father didn't teach you that. My heart felt like it had been pricked by a needle. He did. I heard my voice go dry. That's why he lost. She turned her head, looking at me. Her gaze was deep. Caleb, that's how the world is, she said. Survival of the fittest. Act on emotion, and you die the fastest. Then what about with me? I met her gaze. Is that also survival of the fittest? The elevator arrived. The doors slowly slid open. The light from the lobby poured in, illuminating half her face. She looked at me, the corner of her mouth seeming to curve. You are different. With that, she walked out first. I stood there, staring confusedly at her back. Back at the company, I was thrown into a small office. Right next to her CEO office, separated by glass. Inside was a desk, a computer, a phone. Simple, clean, like a transparent cage. I pulled the meeting recording from the computer and started the headache-inducing task of organizing the minutes. I had never done this work before. Listening was a struggle. The resulting text made me frown when I read it. I procrastinated until the afternoon, barely managing to produce a version. I printed it out and steeled myself to knock on her office door. She was on the phone, back to me, standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. Right, that's the bottom line. If we can't agree, switch to another vendor. Handle it. Hanging up, she turned around and glanced at me. Done. I handed over the minutes. She took them, scanned a few lines quickly, and frowned. This is what you organized. Yeah. Key points not highlighted. Logic chaotic, overly colloquial. She tossed the papers back onto the desk. Redo it. I took a breath. What's wrong? Tell me, I'll fix it. She walked back behind the desk, sat down, and opened her computer. Listen to the recording yourself, compare, and correct. Fix it until I'm satisfied. Victoria, I looked at her. Do you have to be like this? Like what? Using this method, I pointed at the minutes. To humiliate me? She leaned back in her chair, hands clasped in front of her, looking at me with leisure. Caleb, you think this is humiliation? Is it not? I pulled my lips into a smirk. Making me do work I don't know how to do, then nitpicking. If you don't know, learn. Her tone was level. No one is born knowing everything. But I don't want to learn this. I said, then what do you want to learn? She asked, how to rise from the ashes. How to take stone tech back from my hands. I pressed my lips together tight. I can teach you. She leaned forward, elbows on the desk, gaze locking me in. Business, finance, management, tactics, psychology. As long as you are willing to learn, I will teach you everything. The condition? I asked. What is the condition? Condition? The corner of her mouth curved, a smile with no warmth. Stay by my side. How long? Until I get bored. The air went quiet for a few seconds. Outside the window, pigeons flew past, a fluttering sound. Victoria, I heard my voice a bit raspy. What exactly do you want to get from me? She looked at me for a long time. Long enough that I thought she wouldn't answer. Then she spoke softly. All of you. I revised those minutes over and over, 7 or 8 times. By the end, my eyes were blurry, my fingers stiff. When I sent it in the last time, she finally nodded. Acceptable. I let out a sigh of relief, turning to leave. Wait, she called me. I looked back. She took a box from a drawer and pushed it over. For you. I walked over and opened it. Inside was a mobile phone, the latest model. The SIM card is already installed. My number is saved. She said, use this from now on. I don't need it. I pushed the box back. I have a phone. That one of yours, she glanced at my pant pocket, needs replacing. My phone was an old model from 5 years ago, screen cracked, held together with tape, battery shot, had to charge it multiple times a day, but it still worked. No need, I insisted. I'm used to it. She didn't speak. She picked up the new phone, opened the packaging, turned it on, then stood up and walked in front of me, reached out, and snatched my old phone straight out of my pocket. The movement was so fast I didn't react. What are you doing? I reached out to grab it back. She raised her hand to dodge, walked to the trash can, and let go. The old phone fell in with a dull thud. Victoria. My temper flared instantly. She turned around and shoved the new phone into my hand. Now you have no choice. She looked at me. You can only use this one. I gripped the cold new phone, knuckles turning white. What gives you the right? The right is that I'm your boss. She interrupted me. Caleb, recognize your status. She walked back behind the desk, sat down, and looked at her screen again. Work is over. Go eat. I stood there, my chest feeling blocked. We ate dinner at a restaurant near the company. Private room, just the two of us. She ordered a few dishes, all things I used to love. I didn't touch my chopsticks. Not hungry, she asked, placing a rib in my bowl. I looked at the glistening rib and suddenly felt a bit nauseous. No appetite. She put down her chopsticks and wiped the corner of her mouth with a napkin. Because of the phone, I didn't speak. That phone was too old. It needed to be replaced. Her tone was calm. People need to look forward. Look forward. I looked up at her. Look at what? At you. What's wrong with looking at me? She picked up her water glass and took a sip. I can give you everything you want. I want Stone Tech back. I said, okay. She put down a glass, looking at me. Stay by my side, do good work. When your ability is sufficient, I can return Stone Tech to you. I froze. You mean it? I never lie, she said, especially to you. I looked in her eyes. Those eyes were deep black, reflecting a tiny, pathetic me inside. Condition? I asked. Condition is still to stay by your side? Yes. She nodded. And what I want is not just your person staying. Then what? She leaned forward slightly, looking at me across the table. Your heart. My heart skipped a beat. Victoria. I heard my voice go dry. We already broke up. I know, she said. So, I'm courting you again. I was completely frozen. Courting me? This way? Buying my family's company, forcing me out, trapping me here, throwing away my old phone. This is courting. This isn't courting. I said, this is kidnapping. Call it whatever. She shrugged indifferently. As long as it works. You think this works? I laughed in anger. You think like this, I'll have a change of heart. Don't know. She picked up her chopsticks again, picking up a piece of bok choy. But I have to try. Caleb, you know me. There's nothing I want that I cannot get. Back in the lounge, I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, completely sleepless. Victoria's words played on loop in my brain. Hate me. Find me. Force me. And that last look she gave me at the end. Obsessive, crazy, and containing a sort of near-desperate vulnerability. I just couldn't figure it out. The next afternoon, she asked me to go downstairs to pick up a package, said it was an urgent document. I took the elevator down and got a document envelope at the front desk. Walking back, passing the rest area, I heard two employees chatting in low voices. Hear about it. The new assistant in the CEO's office. The one who's quite handsome but doesn't seem to know anything. Yeah, that's him. Do you know where he came from? Where? Heard he's a boy toy kept by Ms. Sterling. I stopped in my tracks. For real? Hasn't Ms. Sterling always been uninterested in men? Before was before. Now, isn't she keeping one? Taking him everywhere. Inseparable. Heard they even live together. Oh my God. No wonder I saw Ms. Sterling treats him specially. Last meeting, VP Wong spoke a bit loudly, and Ms. Sterling's face went cold on the spot. Exactly. If you ask me, that kid got lucky catching Ms. Sterling's eye. Even if he's a guy, that face is really nice. My fingers gripping the envelope tightened bit by bit. Nails digging into my palm, stinging slightly. I took a deep breath, didn't listen further, turned, and walked toward the elevator. The mirrored wall of the elevator reflected my current appearance. Fitted suit, groomed hair, holding an expensive document envelope. Indeed, looked the part. Boy toy. I pulled the corner of my mouth. Back in the office, I put the envelope on her desk. Package. She was reading a file, didn't look up. I turned to leave. Wait, she stopped me. I paused, not looking back. Next Wednesday night, there's a charity gala. Come with me, she said. I'm not going. I heard my voice come out cold. She finally looked up, looking at me. Reason? No reason. I said, just don't want to go to that kind of occasion. Be your vase, your accessory. Have people point and whisper that I'm the boy toy you're keeping. I said the last few words very slowly, very clearly. The expression on her face cooled instantly. Who said that? Doesn't matter who said it. I said, what matters is it a fact? She didn't speak, just looked at me. Her gaze was heavy, like the sea before a storm. The office was terribly quiet. Only the faint sound of the AC running. If I say, she spoke slowly, every word like it was smashing onto the floor, it isn't. I laughed once, the sound dry. Victoria, you trapped me here, gave me food and clothes, gave me a job. Let me live in your place, use your things. If this isn't keeping, what is it? She stood up, walked around the desk, and came up to me. Very close. Close enough for me to see the churning emotions in her eyes. Caleb, she called my name, voice pressed low, carrying a suppressed anger. You think I'm keeping a pet? Aren't you? I met her gaze. Call, and I come. Wave, and I go. Happy, you give a candy. Unhappy, you give the cold shoulder. Yep. Her breath hitched, chest rising and falling slightly. That's how you think of me. Otherwise, I said, you tell me, how should I think of you? She stared at me, eyes sharp as knives, scraping over my skin inch by inch. I stiffened my neck, not dodging. A long time passed, long enough that I thought she would explode, tell me to get out. Instead, she suddenly laughed. The smile was cold, carrying a bit of self-mockery. Fine, Caleb. She nodded. You're right. I am keeping you. I feed you well, treat you well, teach you things, pave the road for you. I just want to trap you by my side, so you can go nowhere, only look at me, only rely on me. I just want to possess you, imprison you beside me. She took a step forward, forcing me back, my back hitting the cold edge of the desk. I tell you, Caleb, these 5 years, not a day went by that I didn't regret. Regret why I let you go back then. Regret why I didn't tie you to my side sooner. Now you're back, falling into my hands. She reached out, grabbing my wrist. You just have to stay obediently by my side. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I might do. As for boy toy, she sneered. Yes, you're the boy toy I'm keeping. But so what? She leaned in, her breath brushing my ear, carrying a scorching heat. I'm happy to keep you. My wrist hurt from her grip. I looked at her eyes, so close at hand. The things churning inside were too heavy, too hot, burning my heart into a panic. Victoria, my throat was dry. Let go first. She didn't let go. Instead, she leaned closer, the tip of her nose almost touching mine. Weren't you quite talkative just now? Her voice was pressed low, hot air sweeping across my lips. Boy toy? Accessory? Continue. My back was pressed against the cold, hard desk edge, nowhere to retreat. That scent on her, mixed with a more intense aura, wrapped me up tight. Beak. I was wrong. I heard my voice go raspy, surrendering with lightning speed. Her eyelashes trembled. Wrong where? Shouldn't listen to blind talk. And shouldn't snap at you. She stared at me, eyes deep and dark like she wanted to suck me in. Caleb, her other hand came up, cold fingertips touching my chin, rubbing it. In your heart, how exactly do you think of me? My heart beat like it was going to explode. Speak. Her fingertips applied a little pressure. I took a breath, threw caution to the wind. I think you're sick. Her finger paused. Sick in the head. I continued, dragging me back, using this kind of method. If not sick, what is it? She didn't speak, just looked at me. The air seemed to solidify. Then, she suddenly laughed. Not a cold laugh, a real laugh. The corners of her mouth curved up, light shimmering in her eyes. Yes, she nodded, admitting it cleanly. I am sick. You are my medicine. With that, she pressed forward, lips pressed against mine. A little cold, a little soft, carrying the crisp scent of her breath. My brain buzzed, going blank. She didn't deepen it, just pressed there, gently rubbing. Then she pulled back a little, looking at me. I was completely frozen, didn't know where to put my hands or feet. Scared, she asked, voice a bit hoarse. I didn't speak. She raised her hand, thumb rubbing across my lower lip, slowly. Caleb, it's been 5 years. Every single day, I wanted to do this. She leaned against my ear, heat drilling inside. You have to get used to it. Get used to me getting close. Get used to me touching you. Get used to me. She paused, the tip of her tongue quickly licking my ear. I shivered all over. Like this. With that, she took my earlobe into her mouth. Bit it. I almost lost my footing. Her arm circled around, holding my waist, pulling me into her embrace. Beak. I gasped, hand bracing on her shoulder. This is the office. Door is locked. She answered vaguely, lips moving down my neck, landing on my collarbone, biting again. Not painful, but tingling. I looked at her face, so close, looked at those pitch-black eyes reflecting the flustered, blushing bewildered me. Then I raised my hand, cupped the back of her head, and pressed down. Kiss back. Fiercer than just now. She froze for an instant, then reacted, the arm around my waist tightening, the other hand threading into my hair, taking back control. This kiss carried a bit of ruthlessness, like a fight and like a confirmation. When we separated, both of us were panting hard. Her forehead rested against mine, breath spraying on my face, hot and urgent. Not running anymore? She asked. Run where? I gasped. My home got wiped out by you. She laughed again, laughing out loud this time, burying her head in the crook of my neck, shoulders shaking slightly. Caleb, her voice muffled in my clothes, carrying a laugh. You really are. Really are what? She lifted her head, eyes shockingly bright. Mine. The gala was in a hotel ballroom. I wore the suit she picked for me, standing beside her, palms sweating a little. She wore a wine-red long gown, holding my arm, her profile looking incredibly beautiful under the lights. Walking in, countless gazes were cast our way. Curious, probing, assessing. I straightened my back, didn't hide. Then I walked straight to the catering area, grabbed a few small cakes, found a corner, and sat down. Just as I sat, I heard 2 women chatting nearby. Is that the boyfriend? Doesn't look like it. Who knows? Heard he used to be from the Stone family. Then the family fell, and he disappeared for years. TSK, then isn't that just? Before she finished, a figure blocked my view. It was Victoria. She didn't look at the 2 women, just reached out and pulled me up. Let's go, she said. Where? I was pulled along by her, walking out. Oh, not going to say hi to the host. Already did. She didn't stop, dragging me through the crowd, out of the ballroom. The night breeze blew, sobering me up a bit. She stuffed me into the car, got in herself, told the driver home, and raised a petition. Just the two of us in the cabin. Her them? She asked. Yeah, I didn't deny it. Unhappy? No. I turned to look at her. Just felt like I embarrassed you. She paused, then smiled. Embarrassed what? She reached out, pinching my cheek. Victoria Sterling's boyfriend. Who dares say it's embarrassing? I grabbed her hand, holding it in mine. Victoria. I used to think you brought me back for revenge. I said. And now I think, I looked at her, you might actually like me. She reversed her grip, interlocking our fingers. Dropped the mic. The car moved through the night. The lights outside flickered on and off, sliding across her face. Caleb, she suddenly spoke. I'm not a good person. I know. My methods aren't clean, and my heart is black. She said. To force you back, I did a lot of things. Yeah, I'm not gentle, don't know how to care for people, and I'm controlling. She continued. In the future, I might still make you angry, fight with you. Yeah, you just gonna say yeah. She turned to look at me. I smiled, leaned over, and kissed her. Yeah. Her eyes softened. She reached out and scooped me over, holding me in her arms. You're really dumb. Dumb and cute. The car stopped downstairs. She pulled me upstairs, into the door, turned on the lights. Then pinned me against the door panel, kissing me, like she wanted to devour me. I kissed her back. Beak. I grabbed her hand. She stopped, forehead against mine, eyes dark and bright. Are you saying you can't? Her voice was terribly raspy. I looked at her and didn't speak, feeling a sudden flare of anger. Then I forcefully lowered my head, kissing her. To the bed. Her eyes lit up, pulling me toward the bedroom. Didn't turn on the lights. Only the moonlight from the window shone in, spilling on the floor. I pushed her directly onto the bed, hands braced on either side of her head, looking down at her. Moonlight outlined her silhouette, half bright, half shadow. Caleb, she suddenly called my name. Last chance. Call stop now, and it's still in time. I kissed her, answering with action. I looked at her, looked at this woman I had known for over 10 years, loved, hated, hid from for 5 years, and was caught by again. Now, she lay beneath me, the corners of her eyes flushed red, breathing messy. All because of me, Victoria. I whispered her name. She opened her eyes, looking at me. I'm not running anymore, I said, and don't you think about losing me again. Her eyes reddened, raising her arms to wrap around my neck, kissing me, like she wanted to knead me into her body. Then, in the gap between breaths, she pressed against my lips and said, Good, but let's do something joyful first. I looked at her flushed state, unable to endure it anymore, and let the night claim us both. Story complete.